Hello, my name is Jaquan Shockley and welcome to TableTips. Today we're going to be covering over 5 basic things that you can do at the table to enhance your experience, not only for yourself, but for your other players at the table as well. Let's get started. Number 1, pay attention to what's going on. This is super important because sometimes you'll have players come to the table and you guys are all playing a game collectively, but you're going to have one person at the table that really isn't all into the game. And it could be D&D, it can be Pathfinder, it could be Alien, it could be BESM, or it could even be some of the basic games like Uno or Connect 4 or Monopoly or the Game of Life. You'll probably have that one player, if you haven't already, that is kind of not as into the game as everybody else is. They're probably on their phone, they're probably texting, they're probably doing this, that, and the third. And I highly discourage you from doing that. Only because when it comes to being your turn, then everybody has to wait for you to figure out what's going on. And you might be talking about this, that, and the third. And the whole vibe of just the game is going to get brought down because one person really isn't paying attention. And it's almost like you have to pull them into the game, like use the energy to pull them into the game rather than them just being into the game and everything is just working smoothly. So when you're playing a game, just make sure that you have all your distractions kind of out of the way and just make sure that you're in the game, because the reason why you guys are all there together is to have a good time. And if one person brings it down because they're not paying attention, well, then the game experience could not only be good for you, but maybe for everybody else at the table as well. Number 2, keep game talk in. Anything else, keep it really low. So this primarily goes to D&D, only because I've had that kind of experience. But I mean, it could be for other games as well, where in D&D you'll be the dungeon master, you'll be telling the story of the game, you'll be explaining information, giving lore, telling about NPCs and characters and things like that. And many people at the table will have conversations left, right, not particularly about the game. Now, I want to preface that yes, at the game table when you're playing D&D, you can definitely talk about other things, like something happening at home, something happening at life, making a joke about this or that and stuff like that, which is totally cool. I never want to discourage people from, talking about other things. However, you don't want to have it going on forever. So like, you don't want to have like a 30-minute conversation about your car, because now that's 30 minutes of game that you've probably taken away from somebody else who probably won't be able to come for like another 3, 4, 5 weeks. So whenever you're talking about stuff, water or anything in general, just kind of keep it low. If you want to have a big majority of a conversation, I would just say just keep it about the game, and all the other stuff you can make it very brief but nothing crazy long. Number 3, arrive on time. So this is a big one because you guys will get together to play D&D, or you'll have a game night scheduled for, let's say, Friday at like 4 o'clock. Let's just use Friday at 4 o'clock. The person who is hosting the event will normally have everything set up and stuff like that, so everything is running good and well for 4 o'clock. However, you'll have people start to stroll in at 4:15, 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30, if it kind of stretches that far, 6 o'clock at probably the most. And that kind of just brings down the experience for everyone and the person that hosted, because I'm pretty sure you guys will only have an allotted amount of time of being there. And then also, let's say someone does arrive at the 4 o'clock hour, if everyone doesn't come in until like 5:30 or 6, the first person that got there has to wait for so long just for everybody to get here just to start the game. They'll be there for like an hour or an hour and a half. They're just sitting there having a conversation, not really doing anything, just waiting for everybody to come up. So when the host or the dungeon master or whoever is hosting the game says be here at this time, it's definitely best to be there at the said time that they asked for. I would say give yourself maybe a 25-30 minute window at the max of being late, but other than that, you pretty much want to be on time as best as possible. And of course, it's understandable if like I had to go take care of my mom, I'll be there late, I had to go do this, that, I might be late. As long as you tell somebody ahead of time, we can normally work around, getting the game started, and when you come in, we'll just get you in. Number 4, make the effort. Now, this is, it kind of goes along with number 1, but it's more detailed in a way. And it's pretty simple. Pretty much, when you're in the game, make an effort to win the game or strategize in the game or work with your team in the game, because if you guys are working in a team-based game and you have one person that is kind of like backseat gaming off of the rest of the people that are trying to make an effort to win the side quest, beat the boss, figure out a puzzle. If you have that one person that's backseat gaming and isn't doing anything, that's going to be another downer for everyone else that's doing all the work as well. Plus, you'll end up, just filling up a seat where someone else could be in that seat, kind of actually putting in the motion to figure something out in a game. Even if it's in like a competitive kind of game, let's say like Monopoly or something like that. If you are just like on your phone and just randomly throwing down cards, you're not really putting in the effort, and it's not really making the stakes any higher at the game table. So it's really best that just give your best effort, just like I said, leave the distractions somewhere else and actually make a good conscious effort to either win or strategize or come up with a plan, because it will only increase the gaming experience for everybody and yourself as well, because you're putting in your best foot forward. And lastly, be efficient. Now, this is more in the D&D aspect, I would say, but again, it could be for all tabletop games as well, but I'll, reference D&D. So when your turn comes up for anything, you want to have your turn be thought out, done, and over with as quick as possible, because that will continue the game. It will keep the game rolling. So let's just say for D&D, let's say you're in combat with like 3 goblins. If you have the one spellcaster on your team that is reading the spells and understanding what it does and looking through different plans, but on their turn, it's going to hold up the entire game, because you have the barbarian that's waiting to swing at the goblin. He already knows what to do. You have like the bard who's already ready to cast this spell. But if you're a wizard and you don't know what you're doing already and it's your turn, we're going to be waiting for you to, let me see what spell this does. Let me see what spell that does. And trust me, it gets a lot more annoying for everybody at the table than you think it is. So to combat that, when it's not your turn, simply start thinking of your plans and your spells and your actions before your turn already gets there. Because once your turn comes through, you can now just execute the plan. Boom, turn is done, game is continuing to move. I can't tell you how many times where I've ran a game session and we're in combat, and the combat that should have been like 30 minutes takes like 2 hours. It normally happens more than most of the time because people are just not thinking on their turns and things like that. But if you want to be a definite expert at the table, definitely think efficiently during your turns, or before your turn happens. And there you have it, guys. Those are the 5 basic things that you can do at the table just to make the experience not only better for yourself, but for everyone around you and the dungeon master and whoever hosts the games. I hope you guys found this information very helpful, and if there's anything else you guys want to hear as far as like table etiquette or different kinds of table tips, just let me know over in the comments section below, and I will be glad to get those to you. But other than that, can't wait to see you guys on the next segment of Table Tips. Have a good one.